My name is Brian McNemar, and today I'm serving as our worship associate. We're so glad you came out today. Whether this is your first visit or you've been part of us for years, newcomer, long timer, let's celebrate this precious time together and let's celebrate life itself. If I would like to take a minute and let everyone point out, at Pride yesterday, we had a bunch of people ask about UUC. So I'd just like to remind us, everyone, that our tenets, guidelines, are up here in the painting: respect community, social justice, equity, and acceptance. So if anybody ever asks you, because we had a bunch ask the Pride booth, that's a good way to let them know what we stand for. So as usual, today's announcements are in the flyer at the usher desk. If you haven't picked them up, feel free to. And we do have a rummage sale next Saturday, the 14th here. There's flyers out there if anybody missed them. So as Maria lights her chalice, please join me as we read the unison affirmation. All right. Love is the spirit of our faith, and service is law. To dwell together in peace. Sorry. This is our great covenant. To dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and help one another. All right, and at this time, I'd like to remind everyone to rise if they are willing and able for hymn number 1018, Come and Go With Me, verses 1 and 2.
Come and go with me to that land. Come and go with me to that land. Come and go with me to that land where I'm bound, where I'm bound. Come and go with me to that land. Come and go with me to that land. Come and go with me to that land where I'm bound.
It's been said that we're all traveling down the same road, that we're taking different exits and backwards to get there. Each time we meet to worship, we pause to share with one another what it's like to be on our different paths. To use this time to speak from the heart. Here are today's joys and sorrows from our hearts today. The first one's from Paul, who couldn't be here today. The SOAR slung 660 bottles of Narcan at Pride yesterday. So that is really good for them. Okay. The second one is a huge thank you to Sarah Stone. Without her, nothing would happen at UUC. The third one's grateful to get to know my fellow UCs better at the Pride Station. Yes. At the station itself, we passed out over 500 bottles of water to everybody who came. And it was very heartwarming to see how many people said they knew of us, that they knew of Stone Action Group, and there's quite a few that even said, we used to come to UC, and believe it or not, there was a few that were like, we've heard of Unitarian Universalism, but just being able to answer the questions and help them learn more about us was very heartwarming. And the last joy is protest every Saturday at the Capitol. It starts at noon. And there are no concerns in the book today, so everybody must be doing great. So, for all the joys that are shared, may they be multiplied. For any concerns that were not voiced, may they be diminished. Someone called me a bleeding heart once. It was not intended as a compliment. However, I will always consider it one of the biggest compliments of my life. My heart bleeds for the underdog. My heart fights for those who can't fight. My heart rejoices in seeing others overcome adversity. My heart desires love and peace for everyone. My heart is compassionate and empathetic. My heart sees in pain in others and wants to help. My heart believes in equality. My heart sees the good in people, and my heart chooses action over fear. This is by Sarah Sutherland Dean. Our guest speaker today is Marjorie Clarkson, and at this time I would like to invite her up.
Good morning. Tears are just coming out of my eyes lately. It doesn't mean that I'm weeping, though I often feel like weeping on some days. I'm not, so just ignore it. I'm glad to be here with you on the day after Charleston's 2025 Gay Pride Parade, the 28th parade since 1997, I read, though I think they didn't have one in 2020. This parade's importance has become exponentially greater in this time of threats, withdrawal of rights, and punishment of people who want to live the lives they choose to live as members of a free, just, and peaceful society. A few months ago, Paul and I were talking about people who come forward in times of fear and despair to take a stand against unlawful and immoral actions that hurt people. We weren't talking about elected officials or well-known members of the community, but about ordinary people who decide they must do something to stop the harmful actions of those engaging in abuse of power and to support those being harmed by their actions. A few weeks later, I offered to make a presentation on the subject. When I learned Paul named the presentation Ordinary Heroes, I was confused. The dictionary definition of ordinary is with no special or distinctive features, normal. And the considerably longer definition of hero is a mythological or legendary figure, often of divine descent, an illustrious warrior, and a person admired for achievements or courage. Since I had been watching video interviews by journalist Bill Moyers with Joseph Campbell, the famous expert on mythology and heroes, now deceased, I had the oldest meaning of the word hero in mind, and I had forgotten that language continues to evolve in many ways, including in definitions of words. Hero has become democratized to mean a person admired for their achievements and courage without the requirement of being a warrior or with divine descent. When I started thinking about the word hero differently, I recognized my own lifelong admiration of people I wanted to be like. I decided it would be valuable for me to make a list of the heroes in my life, starting with early childhood. I will share the memory of one of my childhood heroes. While watching double feature westerns on Saturday afternoons at downtown movie theaters with my dad, I discovered John Wayne, the man I decided I would marry as soon as I grew up. Many decades later, I realized I wanted to be John Wayne. I didn't want to marry him. I wanted to be the person who shows up to set things right in a troubled community, and more often than not leaves town after the problem is solved, which I have done in my own professional and voluntary work life, going from one job or volunteer position to another, where I conceived a new project or renewed a worthy failing one, recruited supporters, achieved success, and then left, quitting the job or resigning the leadership position. Moving on because my goal had been achieved and I wanted a new challenge. Making my list of heroes allowed me to see their influence on my life choices. PhD psychologist Scott Allison writes, "Perhaps the most extraordinary thing about heroes is that they don't have to be physically present to help us survive and thrive. Just remembering our heroes can do the job for us. We all benefit from the memory of our heroes, often in ways we're unaware of." I'm going to talk a little now about why we need heroes and how we benefit from having them. They help us physically, emotionally, socially, and spiritually. Heroism offers benefits that span many dimensions of human well-being. There are basic survival benefits, safety and healing, cognitive benefits, wisdom, motivational benefits, energy, emotional benefits, hope and positivity. There are social benefits, less loneliness. There are growth benefits, development. There are spiritual benefits, morality. And there are creative benefits, personal and societal goals. My personal list of heroes grows daily because the time we're in is creating more heroes. Is it because the dangers now feel more life-threatening? Frank Farley, a professor of psychology at Temple University, says, "Our species tilts toward risk-taking, even though that may not show up in people's lives all the time. But say someone invades your home. You may think that you have to do heroic things and take massive risks that you never thought you were capable of. But you're doing it because you're part of the human species. Facing these clear and present dangers with bravery comes naturally for firefighters. But for others who aren't used to facing life or death situations on a daily basis, it's simply that human response. We can't help but help." Now, to move from personal heroes and the importance of them in our lives, I want to talk a little about Charleston hero from the middle of the 20th century. The Charleston Gazette-Mail published a long piece on February 22, 2025, about Elizabeth Hardin Gilmore, who was extraordinary in many ways and was recognized in the article for her sit-in at the Diamond Department Store from 1958 to 1960, protesting the racial segregation in the lunch counter. Keep in mind, this woman was just a child when the last black man was lynched in West Virginia in 1912. Before the Brown v. Brown Board of Education decision mandating school desegregation, she formed a women's club which opened Charleston's first integrated daycare center. She co-founded the local chapter of the Congress of Racial Equality, and in the 60s, she served on the Kanawha Valley Council of Human Relations, where she participated in forums on racial differences and where she helped black renters displaced by a new interstate highway find housing. Her successful push to amend the 1961 state civil rights law won her a seat on the powerful Higher Education Board of Regents. Her friend Betty Hamilton said, "She was always there. Her commitment was ongoing and steadfast." And a more recent hero, and this is from an Associated Press article, March the 10th, 2025. Karen Ortiz is an administrative judge at the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission. Like many other federal employees, she opened an email on January 28th titled, "Fork in the Road," giving her and her other workers the option to resign from their positions as part of the government's cost-cutting measures. Her alarm grew when her supervisor directed administrative judges in her New York district office to pause all their current LGBTQ plus cases and send them to Washington for further review in order to comply with Trump's executive order, declaring that the government would recognize only two immutable sexes, male and female. Ortiz decried management's lack of action in response to the directive, which she said was contradictory to EEOC's mission, and she called upon some 185 colleagues in an email to resist. But that email was mysteriously deleted. The next day, after yet another frustrating fork in the road update, Ortiz decided to go big, emailing the EEOC's acting chair, Andrea Lucas, directly, and copying more than 1,000 colleagues with the subject line, "A spoon is better than a fork." And she said, she questioned Lucas's fitness to serve as acting chair. Lucas was a Trump appointee. "I know I take a great personal risk in sending out this message, but at the end of the day, my actions align with what the EEOC was charged with doing under the law. I will not compromise my ethics and my duty to uphold the law. I will not cower to bullying and intimidation." Right after sending her mass email, Ortiz said she received a few supportive responses from colleagues. Within an hour, though, the message disappeared, and she lost her ability to send any further emails. But that email made it onto the internet. The email was recirculated on Blue Sky, and it received more than 10,000 upvotes on Reddit. And someone posted with the comment, "Wow, I wish I had that courage." An American hero, one Reddit user deemed Ortiz, a sentiment that was seconded by more than 2,000 upvotes. "Who is this freedom fighter bringing on the fire?" wrote another. Ortiz said, "It was not really planned out, it was just from the heart. The public deserves the EEOC's protection, including transgender workers. This is how I feel, and I'm not pulling any punches. And I will stand by what I wrote every day of the week and all day on Sunday." She also said she never intended her email to go beyond the EEOC, describing it as a love letter to her colleagues. But she added, "I hope that it lights a fire under people." And I want to talk a little bit about local heroes that I'm proud to know. My neighbor and friend Perry Bryant, who founded West Virginians for Affordable Health Care, which has worked consistently to preserve and protect Medicaid as well as support the Affordable Care Act. My dear friend and animal lover, Janice Arthur, who was recognized by the City of Charleston for her incredible success in rescuing and finding forever homes for cats. She transports cats as far north as Canada to find homes for West Virginia's abandoned felines. She works with a network of rescue agencies located in Canada and the mid and northeast regions of the United States. And of course, Sarah Stone, and all founders and volunteers of SOAR, who are improving and saving lives in our community, city, state, and our country. I just read an article reporting on the reasons for the remarkable decline, 24% decline in overdose deaths in the country last year. The increased availability of Naloxone and improved education about it was cited as a significant factor in the reduction of deaths. Some other UUC ordinary heroes. Paul Dozell and others who got clean water to citizens of the Kanawha Valley during the 2014 water crisis, when our water supply was unsafe because of a spill of the coal cleaning chemical MCHM into the Elk River. Angela Cavender and others who helped the survivors of the 2016 1,000-year flood in Clendenin. Reverend Mel Hoover and Mike Youngren and others lobbied successfully to have Black educator Mary C. Snow's name added to the new Westside Elementary School in 2013. Marion Keys, continuing efforts to strengthen UUC connections with our West Side community. And lobbying efforts by Sam Hickman to pass state laws that improve the lives of West Virginia's neglected residents. These efforts are but a tiny fraction of those efforts by decades of current and past UUC members who show up and stand up for all members of our community who need support, and in keeping with our mission statement to build a loving community and to increase justice in our neighborhood and beyond. I believe our UUC is a petri dish for encouraging the development of ordinary heroes. And finally, I must include the brilliant Gene Roddenberry's Enterprise crews for always standing up for freedom and justice in the universe. Thank you.
All right. I'd like to invite everyone once again to rise and voice Body or Spirit for our parting hymn, number 1017, Building a New Way, verses 1 and 2.
We've never sang this before, so I'm just going to play the voice part because otherwise we'll never sing it if I just play the piano. So this is a new song and it goes very well with Marjorie's message. But we are building a new way. We are building a new way. We are building a new way. Feeling stronger every day. We are building a new way. We are working to be free. We are working to be free. We are working to be free. Hate and greed and jealousy. We are working to be free. It'll be better next time. Okay. We are building a new way. We are building a new way. We are building a new way. Feeling stronger every day. We are building a new way.
Our closing words today are Loving and Responsible Action by Robert F. Kaufman. We have come together to share our deepest concerns, speaking and singing words of inspiration and hope. We have committed ourselves to do what we can to ease the burdens of those who suffer, to stand for decency and compassion. We have pledged to work for a more wholesome environment for us and for generations that will follow. But these are just words. The hymns we sing are just songs, and all our reflections are just idle thoughts. When we convert them into loving and responsible action throughout the week, then and only then will this morning become what we want it to be, a time of worship.